Hello, my friends. It's Ranger Russ from Meigs Nature Center. I am visiting another state park today. I am at Wharton Brook State Park. But before we start looking around and talking about it, I want to let everybody know this coming Saturday at 10 o'clock, we are going to have a very special program. Dr. Nick Bellantoni will be visiting. If you are not watching this live and the program has already passed, so that will be December 5th, you can go and see the program on YouTube. It will be put up on YouTube. It will also be on Meigs Nature Center's website under the Virtual Learning Center. And we'll put some other things up there as well. We always try and add some additional content to the videos once they're on the website. So today we are at a state park. It is the smallest state park that I have visited so far. Only 96 acres, so a very, very small park. The total length of all the trails added together is 0.93 miles. So we're not even going to go a mile today. But this is a really unique habitat, a very special habitat, and we'll get into that as we go. But before we do that, I want to thank everybody, first of all, for putting up where you're messaging from. I always like to see that. And I love questions and comments, so please keep those coming. But today I have a question for you. I would like to know if there's something that is your favorite part of the programs or something that's your least favorite part of the programs. We're going to try and make an adjustment going forward. We're probably going to be reducing the number of programs down to twice a week. I'm not sure yet. But that's for next year, which is only a few weeks away now. So, New Mexico, very cool. So if you've got a favorite episode, a favorite thing that happens during the programs, either, going to visit parks or crafts or stories, whichever thing is your favorite, please put a question or a comment up about that. You can also message us on Facebook. You can message us through YouTube, from the website, whatever method you find easiest to do that. And again, please like our YouTube channel. If you're watching the YouTube channel, if you scroll down a little bit, there should be a red button that allows you to like the YouTube channel. We're really trying to get that up, and continue to follow us and like us on Facebook as well. So you can see this is the small pond at Wharton Brook. It is very small, so this is definitely a pond. I think that in past episodes we've determined that depth and size or acreage determines whether it's a pond or a lake. This is acreage-wise pretty small. I'm going to say no more than 12 acres. Probably a lot less than that, actually. That's probably about 3 acres. I'm way overestimating that. And depth-wise, I believe it's pretty shallow. From what I've seen, I've only looked at this side. It's shallow around. There is a swimming area over on that side, so it's probably shallow there. But it's a man-made dammed, Wharton Brook was dammed up to create this pond. So I'm going to say this is going to be pretty shallow. So we can call this a pond. They do stock it with trout and I think they probably stock other things as well, maybe some salmon here. I know we've been doing some salmon stocking throughout the state. So it's a nice little pond. Now I'm going to turn the camera around. We already have some questions and comments, so very cool. Someone says they're in New Haven, so you're not far from where I am. This is in North Haven, on the Wallingford-North Haven line. Part of the park is in Wallingford. But before we head out there, let me turn this camera around, because there's this little picnic shelter here. And I walked through here coming down to start the program, but I noticed this nest up here. And I believe that's a wren nest. Wrens make this mass nest with a little hole in it. House wrens do like structures. So I'm guessing we have a wren nest. If anybody else has any ideas what type of nest it might be, let us know. All right, So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk around the pond and head off to the trails. Most of the trails are over on the far side of the pond. There's a beautiful cedar. Look at these. These are some nice big cedars too. Let's continue on, and then I'll turn around and show you how tall those cedar trees are. Those are pretty neat. So what we're walking on here, this is the part of the dam. This is an earthen dam that's been built up to create the pond. It's a beautiful little pond we have here. Let's take a look at those beautiful cedar trees. So again, this is an eastern red cedar, which is in the juniper family. I did a whole program on cedar trees, so make sure you look that one up. You can learn all about the cedars. All right. Here's some water flowing under the earthen dam here. Comes out down below there. Look at that. All right, you see that tree down there that has the really peely bark? It's there's a small tree on the left, and then the next one in behind that one. Really, that's a looks like a river birch. I love those trees. They get that really shaggy bark. Oh, there's another one behind it. That's neat. I don't know that I've seen these at any of the parks we visited so far. So there's a good sighting there. Oh, the gimbal doesn't like I set this down at an angle. All right, so we've got river birch. It looks like down below there, it's pretty wet down there, but also in the back it looks like some Japanese knotweed. That's an invasive. We don't really like to see that there. But we're coming up on Wharton Brook itself. Look at this, it's absolutely beautiful here. Now it's right off of Route 5, and I'm not sure which highway is to my left. Behind me would be Route 5. Some of you from Wallingford and North Haven can tell me which highway. I haven't driven that way yet. But this is Wharton Brook. Nice sound effect from the waterfall there. This would be a place you could come and just sit for hours. Got that nice little pond. We've got the water flowing. Over on this side, we've still got this nice babbling brook here. Yeah, beautiful sounds. I hope everyone can hear it. Now, the thing that really excited me about coming to this park is the soil type. So this is dry, sandy, acidic soil, which is an ideal habitat for pitch pines. One of my favorite trees. The pitch pine are one of those trees that use fire to extend its lineage. Not the word I'm looking for, but this is the swimming area here. All right, got some nice oaks. Looks like several white oaks. I did see on the other side by the parking lot what I think is a scarlet oak, which is not a real common oak around here. And since it's by the parking lot, I'm guessing it was probably planted at some point. So I have never been here. This is all brand new to me. and I'm not really seeing a trail, so I'm just going to be wandering around, and you're going to wander around with me. We'll just have to explore this. Now, the claim to fame for Wharton Brook State Park between 1918 and 1920, this was a wayside rest area. So you would be able to stop here and get service to your vehicle. And back then, service was not just filling it with fuel, but getting it water, checking it out, full service. But while they were servicing your car, you could have a picnic lunch. So this was the precursor to roadside rests that the DOT took on. So back then it was the Parks Commission that were running them. Oh, here we go. A lot of trees cut down. I see what's going on here. Pitch pine natural area. Very cool. So the pitch pines, maybe we can take a picture of this and put it up on the website. Before I leave, I'll come back and get a picture of that. Pitch pines need sunlight, so some of the pine cones will stay on the tree and wait for fire, and then the heat of the fire will cause them to open and the seeds to drop out. Some of them will fall to the forest floor. But those that fall to the forest floor, they need the warmth of the sun to trigger them to open. So that's why pitch pines are not shade tolerant. You're not going to find pitch pines growing with other trees. When it starts to get too thick, the pitch pines aren't going to be able to reproduce. So we've done some work out here, some cutting to try and keep the pitch pines growing, to keep this pitch pine grove. Now, if anyone's familiar with the Pine Barrens from New Jersey, there's a big swath of Pine Barren in New Jersey. Ooh, we have a choice which way to go. Let's go to since there's only a mile of trails, I'm not really worried that I'm going to get lost, or that we're going to end up on a trail that takes us too far away from anything. So, from down in New Jersey, and then across Long Island, and then Cape Cod, there are these massive pine barrens. And that's the dry, sandy soil, very acidic, great habitat again for pitch pines. Not a lot of other trees enjoy that habitat. It was a female cardinal just flew across there, I think. No, what is that? So one of the neat things that's happened out here when they cut these trees down to encourage the pitch pines, again, they need the sunlight. They've left brush piles, which are excellent habitat. And that does look like a female cardinal hopping around in the pile. Yep, there's the bright red bill. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a brown bird, so it's tough to see. But these piles, these brush piles, are excellent habitat. I make them I only have an acre of woods, but I'll gather up all of the scattered branches that fall from the trees and pile them together like this to create this habitat. It also opens up the forest floor a little bit for some other animals like deer. They don't like it too tangled. So this is really neat that they've done this here. Now, one of the things that are done to help the pitch pines are controlled burns. So again, it will trigger. I just heard a hawk. Sounded like a red tail, but it was only a little call. We have to keep our eyes out. And there's a bird flying away that looks kind of like a pileated woodpecker. Pileated woodpeckers are making a comeback across Connecticut, so that's really exciting. All right, so controlled burns are great to encourage and promote pitch pines. Not only does it trigger their cones to open, but it clears away other trees, which gives them a chance to continue to grow in. So those pine barrens, that soil type is found here. There were other of this sandy soil in this area. A lot of it was dug out, and I should have showed you back at the beginning there, that flat area looks like it was a sand pit at one time. People like sand, it's a valuable resource, so they pull it out. And we have lost most of that habitat. That's why preserving this area is really important. Let's stop and take a look. There's a chickadee just landed right next to me here. Here's one of our pitch pines. One of the things you'll notice about the pitch pine are the needles, the needle color. Pitch pines have a yellowy green needle, where the white pine, probably our most common pine and our largest tree, the white pines have a bluish needle. The needles are similar. I'm going to take a glove off here so we can get a closer look at these. The needles are similar in thickness, but these grow in, let me grab a cluster here. If you see that, these grow in clusters of 3. White pines grow in clusters of 5. Okay, they're about the same length and size. Again, the color is going to be different and the number is different. Pitch pines don't grow as large. They're going to top out about 80 feet. White pine can reach 200 feet. Again, our tallest tree. And if somebody knows a different one, if Bob's watching, if there's a different pine that gets taller, I'm pretty sure the white pine is our tallest tree. Jack pines in Michigan are burned occasionally. Yes, they are. There are several pine trees that require fire to grow, and many of them, the cones will sit preserved for hundreds of years waiting for a fire, and then they're still good. All it takes is that fire and they will open up. So this is a young pitch pine. I love to see this. It's a sign of a future. So not just of the pitch pine, but our children will be able to see this. There's digging on the ground there, but I see it's a person, so we're not going to stop and look at that. Our children will be able to visit a small example of the pine barrens here in Connecticut. So that's pretty exciting. You can see there's a few tall pitch pine going forward. We'll stop and look at some of these. The trees that are cut down, looks like a lot of beech tree. This is a beech here. And this is a beech trunk. So now this doesn't look very good right now with lots of stumps and branches on the ground. But in a few years, when these young pitch pines are growing up, there'll be more pitch pines. This will be absolutely beautiful. Oh, look, looks like a northern harrier. Why is it here? We have northern harriers at Hamo all the time. Is that a harrier? Looks like a long tail. Let's see what that is. I'm not sure. I'm not able to track it here. Oh, that might be a red tail. That might be what I heard earlier. It had its tail closed up, so I thought I might be looking at a harrier. Harriers fly with the tails together, very narrow tail. And most of the buteos, the broadwing hawks, fly with their tail flared out a little bit wider. So that definitely a red tail. It just flashed me its beautiful red tail. All right, so again, in a few years, this will be a great place to come back and visit and see these pitch pines. Now, pitch pines live a long time, also a lot longer than a white pine. Pitch pines are 200 years. Well, that'd be a max, but it could live up to 200 years. And the white pine's going to be about 40 or 50 years. So definitely not as long lived, the white pines, as a pitch pine. But the white pines, again, they're fast growing tree. They grow quickly. That's why people have them around their houses. If you want to get a tree quickly, nice tall tree, then the white pine is your tree. And speaking of, I was hoping we'd be able to find a white pine so I can show you. Oh, these needle clusters are hard to pick one out here. Let's see. Go down the stem. There we go. And I think you can see there are 5. Oh, that only looks like 4. These two are close together. There we go. 5 needles here. So the white pine also has, it's called a whorled branching. The branches come out in a circle at one point. So you've got in the back there, this level here, branches all the way around, then a straight trunk, and then branches all the way around. The pitch pine's a little bit different. The branches are more staggered, more like most other trees. Now, I did see something over here. Thought we should go take a look at. One of the trees that was cut down, that was here, is an oak tree. This was a massive tree. Look at this. This trunk. This is, talk about a stump speech. This is where you could stand up. You could have 3 people stand on this one to do a speech. And there's the tree over there. Looks like they may have taken a chunk of it. Between here and there, there's some rotting in it. I don't even want to begin to estimate how old this tree was. Let's just take a quick look here. I'm really curious. I'm just taking a look here. Judith says, well, I do a program on controlled burns, and I think that's a great idea. And I may even be able to find a forester that's doing a controlled burn, and we can go and film the burn as it's happening. So we've got 10 years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Yeah, so we're looking at well over 100-year-old tree. And that's just a quick estimate. Usually I would just sit and count all of the rings. But if you count a good chunk of rings and then, estimate that those are about the same. So you get 10 rings, take up about that much space. You can see, though, some of the rings are wider in some places, narrower in other places. So as you go around, on a really good year, so this is something that people commonly know. On a good year, you're going to get a larger growth ring than on a poor year. So if it's a drought year or any other, lots of storms or something that may have stunted the leaves, like we had this year, then you're going to have a smaller growth ring. But if you go around the tree, there are areas like here, you can see these rings are tight together, and then here you get some really wide rings. And that's going to be on some side of the tree. The tree isn't growing equally all the way around. There may be a lot of shade on one side of the tree, or maybe another tree rubbed against it, or something else like that. So you're not always going to get perfect rings all the way around the tree. My mom says there's an app that if you measure the tree, gives you an estimate of the age. That'd be cool. I'm sure that you have to put in what kind of tree it is, though, because different trees grow faster. Like I said, the white pine's very, very fast growing. All right, let's see what other things we can find here as we go. I'm seeing a lot of young pitch pines through here, which is great to see. Again, this park is under 100 acres. So it's not a very large park, but to have this sandy soil, look at all those pitch pines. Let's just stand here and look for a second. To have all this sandy soil, this is going to be fantastic. I'm going to have to come back here in 5 to 10 years and see what this looks like. So if you're familiar with the pine barrens on Long Island and Cape Cod, New Jersey, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of pitch pines. I'll listen for a second. I was hearing... there were birds. Now I'm just hearing a blue jay. But so they left. There are a few white pines scattered through here. Because you're creating a habitat for pitch pine, the white pines, they don't like the dry sandy soil as much, but they're more shade tolerant. So they may have been growing before all the other trees were cut down. That's something to keep in mind, that it's not just soil type, but shade tolerance. Again, the pitch pines need the warmth of the sun to trigger their cones. And the white pines, we should talk about their cones. White pines are more shade tolerant. They can grow in a little more shade. There's a cone up there of a white pine. The white pine cones are usually longer and thinner. The pitch pine, short and stocky and very solid. The white pine opens up a bit more. You can see that one's a bit more open. There's a hemlock over here. Look at, there's a nice, little tiny hemlock cones up there. Pitch pines were used, so there's the sap of the white pine. And if you look at the wood, white pine is a whiter wood, pitch pine is a more yellowy wood. But pitch pines were used in shipbuilding, they were used for railroad ties, mining struts, the framing inside of a mine. And there was a good reason for that. The high pitch content means that they're much less susceptible to rot. So they can withstand the moisture up. It's a chipmunk. I was hearing something scurrying around in there and I just picked him out in the back. Picked it out. It could be a girl. I don't know if you can see it back there. Nice little stripy squirrel. I have a hard time thinking of chipmunks as squirrels, but they are the same family. All right. Actually, I think I have a Native American story that I have not done yet about the chipmunk. Maybe I should do that one. All right. Let's see what other things we have here. So yes, again, the pitch pines were used. Now, those two trunks there, those look like red pine trunks. So there was some red pine out here as well. Years ago, we did have a blight through Connecticut. I've mentioned this, where we lost a lot of red pine. And I was working at Rocky Neck at the time, and we actually had to cut down the red pine before it rotted and fell. So the trails are not really well defined. I haven't seen any blazes out here. So this may be something, if we want to control people walking, we should think about doing some better blazes. I think we're going to go down here because I see some water this way. But it looks like a branch has fallen across this This actually looks more like a road than a trail. But we'll see. See what we find. There's a bird. Sounds like a catbird ahead here. Oh, look. Here's some raspberry, nice raspberry bramble here. So the berries, the raspberries, blackberries, they really like the open sun as well. This is going to be great habitat for them also. Oh, this is beautiful down here. Now, the DEP website has, it's a great resource for state parks. This park, though, didn't have a whole lot. There was one paragraph. It talked about the 1918 to 1820 being a wayside rest. And then they talked about, actually, that's about it. So, but if you are going to visit a park, be sure to check the websites, because back in 2017 or 2018, the tornado that came through Connecticut and it had to close, Sleepy Giant got hit really bad, and this park also got hit pretty bad, and both had to be closed for that. It was 2018, and in 2019 we reopened it. So I'm looking here. This riverbed is a great place to see tracks, and I'm seeing some squirrel track down there. Actually, that's about all I'm seeing are squirrels. Lots of tracks of squirrels. You can see the water has created those ripples up ahead there. So that's neat. We're under another hemlock tree here. Looking for some more tracks. Looks like some worm trails there too. Worms sliding around, getting moisture. All right, so here is a canine. Could be a coyote. Too big for a fox. But I don't want to really identify it as a coyote because it could be a dog as well. And there's another one. That's a double and a person. All right, there's a person. This is probably a dog. That is really big, even for a coyote. So somebody has hiked down here. There's another. Yep. Somebody walked right through that dry riverbed. They must have come up this stream here. All right, let's head back over in this direction. Ooh, look, nice thistle. There you go. Dried up thistles. These still have seeds, so this is going to be good for the birds. I'm sure the chickadees and the tufted titmice and the catbirds will be getting some seeds from there as the winter goes on. All right, let's keep going here. There's a nice sycamore tree ahead of us. You can see the bare bark ahead. It's a maple leaf sycamore. We're coming up to, looks like still some ice on the water. That's neat. It's not that cold today, but this area here wasn't in sunlight, or hasn't been in sunlight. So we still have some ice down here. So we're at the far end of the pond now. And I am realizing there goes a blue jay, something else flying over that way. So there's a lot of buildup of leaves in this area here. So there's not a lot of water flow. This area does not flow out into the main pond very much. All right, let's, we're gonna have to go, we're gonna have to cross this stream. Realized I got myself down a dead end. So we're gonna keep on going, see if there's a way. Actually, I think it might be a dead end. So we're gonna head back, go around the pond that way. Yeah, we'll do that. All right. So we're gonna head back sort of the way we came. We'll see if we have a different route to get back to the bridge. So actually that tells me a lot right there. If you look at this gimbal, don't want, there we go. The gimbal doesn't want to turn. If we look at this tree that's down here, you can see all of the bark up there, and then the bare patch, and then bark again. This bare patch is from people going over the log. So that's a regular walking route for some people. All right, we're gonna head down this trail, which I believe will connect back to the first trail I was on. Seeing a lot more white pine along this edge here. Now, being that pond is man-made, I'm gonna guess that they probably dug that out to get sand. This sandy soil again is a resource. People pay good money for sand. And when we get around to the other side of the pond, I'll show you what I think was also dug out for the sandy soil. So this, I can't tell what kind of tree this was. Kind of looks like a cedar, but definitely not as old. There's a birch trunk over there. Having this open habitat, this is an unusual habitat for Connecticut now. At one time, 90% of Connecticut was farmed, so there was lots of open habitat when it was all farmland, not as many trees. From that point, we've reversed things, and now 90% of the state is wooded, forested trees. So clearing an area, 100 acres, is a drop in the bucket, but it creates a different habitat that's going to encourage lots of wildlife. All right, I see a tag on a tree. I don't know if you can see it in the back there. A little, like a dog tag that's probably put there so people don't cut that tree down. It's got a number, so this tree is being tracked. You can see they left the nail out so that as the tree grows, the tag will slide out. Again, a slow growing tree, so you don't need to leave it a lot. If this were in a white pine, you'd want a much longer nail, so that you don't lose your tag as it gets enveloped by the growing tree. Got a lot of young birch through here. And I think we're going to go this way because I think this is our pond over this way. There's another American beech. The American beech, if you look at the bud, pointy bud on the beech. So we're above the pond again. Yeah, there's sort of a trail here. I thought there was a trail that went down to the swimming area. Maybe I'm not far enough along yet. I should stop and look at some questions here. Let's see. Red pine, not too common. Yeah. That's Bob. That's our tree expert. I wonder, Bob, if the blight that was wiping them out back in the 80s and the 90s when I was cutting them down at Rocky Neck, if that is still around and they don't get to be full size. Here we are. This is the sort of trail that I was looking for, and it looks like they put a bunch of branches here, so maybe they don't want this to be a trail any longer. There's someone metal detecting down in the swimming area there. Oh, this is a small park, but I think just the fact that it's got the pitch pine makes it an awesome place to visit. All right, so here we have interesting thing. This piece of the beach has come down, created a few little spring poles up there. But it looks like people were using this as a path or a trail. I would not be ducking under this as part of the path. I mean, I'm wiggling it. It's pretty solid. But this is just one of those things, safety-wise, you really want to watch out for. This isn't a very large one. So if that came down, it's not going to kill me. It's not falling from a great height or anything. But if you're hiking through the woods and you see a big one up higher, it's not something that you would want to duck under. So I'm going to practice what I preach and go around that one. And we're going to head... Morning. We're going to head down to the water. So this would be... we have a fisherman on the other side there. So you can see, parks are great recreation. We had the gentleman that was out here metal detecting. We have someone fishing. There are lots of great uses for state parks. And I encourage people to use them for all of these different functions. Now, if you look over there, that's where we were, down by the water where the leaves are not flowing out, not moving. They're just sitting there. A lot of these leaves are sitting here too, even though you can see the water is moving gradually, slowly down towards the towards that waterfall, but it's not moving enough to move the leaves. See that big leaf there? That's from that sycamore. Oh, and there's the needle, pine cone from a white pine right there. Never really looked to identify leaves in a pond before, but if they're there, this looks like an interesting swimming area. It looks like there's grass right up to the water, so probably not the place that people do their primary swimming. Or they don't get a lot of people swimming here, because I would imagine this grass would get worn out pretty quick. Just end up being a sandy beach. Oh, there's something neat. Let's go look at that. Looks like some red stone here. Making a nice little bench on some concrete. I know what those are. We used to have these. These were parking barriers, and this end here would have a, I don't know if you can see this. This end, so that this end down here was buried in the ground. Actually, they were much longer at Rocky Neck. Gimbal doesn't like this angle. But then we'd put a board across here, and that would make a parking bump. And these would be, 8 foot apart. I had one of those fall on me one time. That's how I recognize that thing. All right. Lots of acorns on the sandy beach here. From all of these, look like a lot of black pine, maybe some, black oak, maybe some red oak in there also. Bob says the red pine are disappearing. Quite a bit. So the fungus can't travel too far. Oh, there we go. It's good to have experts that you can call on. Now I'm noticing something here that I wouldn't expect to see at this time of year. See this green? This looks like duckweed. Well, what was it called? It's a very tiny plant. It's just a little leaf and then one little root that goes into the water, and it floats on the surface. This is late in the year, and this is still bright green, so it's pretty cool. Each one of those little dots is a plant. It's all washed up on the edge there. Should have my glasses on. I can't even see those little plants. All right, there's over there, you can see the highway. There's some big trucks going by. Again, I'm not sure which highway that is. I don't know if anybody posted it earlier. And we're crossing our bridge again. This is where we started. And I want to show you, again, I just want to remind everybody, Connecticut state parks are amazing. This is a place I've never visited here before. Every time I visit a state park, I just say, well, I have to go back. This one I'll have to come back in a few years because I really want to see those pitch pines in full bloom or full growth. I know that when I was up doing my chainsaw training was at Hopeville Pond, and we'll be going there. Definitely, that's a beautiful park that I have visited since I was a kid, so that one I've been to. But there's a lot of pitch pine there as well. But every time I go to a state park, you can't just visit once, you just want to go back again. You can find something interesting at every state park. So not only does this have a beautiful little swimming pond, it's got those nice pitch pines. It's got these nice little picnic areas. It is not far from very busy areas either. So I imagine there's places to shop. I saw several restaurants as I was driving down here. That's one of the benefits that state parks have. They generate a lot of revenue for the local businesses from the people coming to visit them. So what I wanted to show you though, if you look at that far bank there, so we have this really nice flat open area that we're using as a picnic area. Looking at that bank, I'm going to say that at one point they were digging sand out from this flat area, probably out of the pond as well, because of the dry sandy soil again. So I'm guessing that that was at one point they were digging it out from this low area here. That doesn't look like a natural field with a natural bank like that. And it looks like a flicker is flying away. Darn, I wanted to show you. It flew away. Pretty sure that was a flicker. Just got out of the corner of my eye. All right, so again, for now, these programs are going to continue 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock on Facebook Live. As soon as I get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we'll start to do YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live. You can also look for our program Saturday, that's 2 days, December 5th, 10 o'clock. Dr. Nick Bellantoni speaking about the Native Americans that lived along the shore of Connecticut. So very excited to have him talking about that. Please visit the website, meigspointnaturecenter.org. Go to the Virtual Learning Center and you can see the past videos with additional educational content as well. So until tomorrow, this is Ranger Russ signing off from Wharton Brook State Park. Beautiful little park. Lots of bird activity. They don't get close enough for me to see them very well with this camera, but still lots of birds. Great place to visit. And I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.